What's going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to be watching 12 straight hours of Alex Hormozi videos, synthesizing the top insights, and then sharing them with you at the end of this video. For those of you who don't know, Alex is the face of entrepreneurship on social media, and he's amassed a net worth of over $100 million with his businesses. Now, Alex has a lot of great knowledge to share, but unfortunately, most of us are too busy to sit through his, at times, hour-long videos. And for that reason, today I want to go through all of the knowledge he's put online, and what better way to do that than by sitting at my desk for 12 hours straight, watching him do what he does. So let's begin. So before I actually begin the 12 hours, I'm just coming up with a strategy. So I've gone to his YouTube page. I've been scrolling through his different videos to get a feel for the different subgenres that he enjoys touching on within entrepreneurship. I think the right approach is to go to popular videos because I think popularity is a good measure of how much impact each video potentially has. So I'm gonna start with the most popular video and work my way down until 12 hours is up. Hey guys, so it's been an hour so far. I watched one 50-minute video, and honestly, the insights that I got from it were pretty great. I think the main takeaway so far is that a lot of entrepreneurs are really distracted by having 3 or 4 or 5 different businesses going on at once, but that's preventing them from going all in with one business and seeing, 10x, 20x the results they could be getting. So I'll delve more into this insight and other insights that I come across at the end of the video. But let's keep watching, and I'll see you in a few hours.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
I'm about 4 hours and 4 videos deep, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit tired. I think the main insight so far has been that if you wanna create a business that does well, you need to cater it to rich people, because when you solve rich people problems, you can also deliver rich people prices. It is much more difficult to cater to the lower and the middle classes, but we'll get into this insight and the other insights later on. But actually, before I get back into it, I'm probably just gonna walk around my apartment, try and blow off some steam before I begin the next 8 hours. All right, I'm about 8 hours deep, and I'm currently watching the Chris Williamson podcast with Alex Hormozi. I personally love the Modern Wisdom podcast. I think the questions that Chris asks are much more well-researched, much more well thought out than most of the podcasters that I see. So this should be an interesting 3 hours, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm done. Okay, it's 8:15 p.m. and I'm not gonna lie, this has been tough. I'm about to approach hour 11, and honestly, hours 8 to 11 have been a serious struggle. I've been kind of struggling to retain everything that I'm reading, so I'm gonna have to rely on my notes pretty heavily tomorrow. That being said, I have learned so much over the past 11 hours, and I'm really looking forward to synthesizing everything I've learned to deliver some value to you, hopefully. But first things first, let me finish my last hour, and I will see you guys tomorrow. It's currently the day after the challenge, and if you've made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support on this new and growing channel, so thank you. This morning, I went through 30 pages of notes, and I've now condensed them and synthesized them into 7 key insights. These are the most valuable, most impactful things that I learned from Alex during my 12 hours watching him. And without further ado, let's get into idea number 1. Point number 1 is that your definition of work is all wrong. Most people define work in terms of input, how many hours they spend working on something, how much effort you expended. But when you think of hard work in terms of these inputs, it doesn't really make sense, because you can work for hours and hours at something, but still not achieve the results you want. So clearly, these definitions miss something. Alex argues that we should all define hard work in terms of output, the result that we get when we do something. For instance, within the realm of business, maybe how many conversions we manage to get, how many sales we manage to make. Output is the real measure of success and of hard work. Okay, so now that we know that output is important, how can we increase it? Well, Alex talks about how output equals volume, or the amount of times you do something, multiplied by leverage, or the bang for your buck with each time you do that thing. Just to further clarify these definitions, why don't I give you a concrete example? Maybe we're in sales, so we want to maximize output, right? The first component, volume, is going to be how many phone calls you're making. The second component, which is leverage, is going to be the success rate with all of the calls that you're making. So hopefully these definitions make some sense. But you might be wondering, okay, we're going to maximize output. Should we increase volume, or increase leverage, or increase both? Well, let's talk about it. If we think back to the sales example, volume is capped by the amount of time you have to do something. It's capped by, the hours that you have to make phone calls. It would be foolish to try and maximize volume and just spend 24/7 on the phone like this. But if you think about leverage, leverage is uncapped. There are infinite ways for you to improve your leverage or your success rate with each time you perform the action. Maybe improving your leverage looks like having better training, focusing on improving your skills, having better training, investing in a program that helps you develop your soft skills, maybe even just calling at the right time of day. People could be more receptive to buying things in the morning, who knows? But the key point that Alex brings up here is that when you want to maximize results, don't just focus on improving the amount of repetitions or the amount of times you do something. You want to focus on leverage, because that's where you're going to get more bang for your buck, and there are many more things that you can improve in that area. So in summary, if you want to improve your output or your results in business or in any other area of your life, yes, focus on increasing your volume, right? The amount of times you go to the gym, the amount of time you spend reading, and then focus on boosting your leverage to the highest level possible. That could mean hiring a personal trainer for the time that you're at the gym, or for the book example, wearing noise-canceling headphones to make sure that you're fully focused when you read. Let's talk about idea number 2, why new ventures are making you poor. I want you to think for a second and let me know if this sounds like you. Your friend tells you about this new business idea. Maybe it's drop shipping or day trading. You get really excited about it. You think it's gonna make you millions of dollars. Then you realize there are so many components to that new idea that you hadn't even thought of. So you get disheartened, you quit, and you find a new idea. And the cycle repeats. Now, Alex presents a diagram which really explains this mistake that a lot of people make. The diagram begins with uninformed optimism. So this is when you hear about that new idea and you get really excited about it. The next phase is informed pessimism. Maybe things aren't working out and everything becomes much more complex than you initially anticipated. The third stage is a crisis of meaning. You begin to wonder what to do. Should you quit? Should you give up? Should you keep going? Most people, when they're in this scenario, crash and burn, and they give up and move on to the next idea. What you should do instead, if you want to be successful, is ignore those new shiny ideas that you keep hearing about. And while you're in this valley of despair, stick to this idea. Keep at it. Push through the challenges, and ultimately you'll see the progress, and you'll get to this stage of informed optimism. And ultimately, you'll reach achievement. I thought seeing Alex map out this process was really interesting because it made me more aware of the times that I've been excited about something and then quit that idea, then pursued something new. At its core, this lesson is a reminder to stay committed to what you're currently doing and don't be distracted by these new shiny ideas, because if you do, you won't become truly good at what you're doing right now and you won't achieve anything of consequence. Lesson number 3 is something that I think a lot of people need to hear. Don't multitask. Alex tells the story of how he used to juggle 9 different businesses, a few gyms, a dental marketing agency, and some other operations too. It sounded cool in theory, But the fact was, he was living paycheck to paycheck. After some reflection, he realized it was because he was spreading himself too thin. He was competing against business owners who were focused solely on their one business. Their focus wasn't scattered between 5 or 6 or 7 operations. And this allowed them to outcompete him. When you're starting out, you have to focus on one thing. Alex also recognizes that some people might say, okay, I have these 6 different businesses, but I'm waiting for one of them to take off, and then I'll hone in on that one. But the thing that we all need to realize is that any of these businesses could succeed. You just have to find one of them and commit to it for an extended period of time. So in summary, look at all of your different business ventures and find the one with the most potential and stick with that idea. Lesson 4 is for the younger people that will watch this video. Let's touch on how to become a young millionaire. Alex talks about how when it comes to money, you have 2 options. You can earn or own. Earning means making a salary, maybe working a corporate job, which might be around $100,000 per year. So you have your $100,000, but you might also have $40,000 in living expenses. This means that each year you take away $60,000. Now, if you continue with putting $60,000 away into your bank account every year, it would take you 16 years before your bank account hit $1 million. The title of the lesson is How to Become a Young Millionaire. So 16 years probably is not going to cut it. So let's move on to the second option, which is owning. Owning is about building assets that appreciate in value, maybe building your own company. The path to making $1 million this way is going to come much sooner. So let's say you begin your business and in 4 years, you get it to a point where you're bringing in revenue of $250,000 every single year. Let's also assume that you can sell the business with a 4x multiple. That means you can sell the business for $1 million. Now, obviously, building up a business to that point is no easy feat. But if you do everything right and you stay committed, it's gonna come much, much sooner than 16 years. The key takeaway here is short and sweet, but essentially, if you want to become a young millionaire, you need to build and own a business as opposed to working for a salary. Lesson number 5 is about how to create valuable products. If you have an offering, you can do all of the marketing and advertising in the world, but if your product sucks, you might as well just quit. Now, the good news is that there are tangible ways that you can improve your offering and make it more valuable. So Alex mentions this equation that he came up with that gives you different levers that you can pull to improve the value of your offering. And the equation says that value equals the dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood of achievement, divided by the amount of time it takes, as well as the effort and sacrifice that you have to make. With this equation, to make your product more valuable, obviously you want to maximize the numerator and decrease the denominator as much as possible. But what do each of these different variables actually mean? Well, the dream outcome is what the customer actually wants or what they'll receive. The perceived likelihood of achievement is how likely the customer thinks it is that they'll actually receive the outcome. Time is the duration that the customer will be waiting to receive their outcome. And obviously, effort and sacrifice is the amount of energy the customer has to expend for the result to occur. I think it might be helpful to give a concrete example here. So let's say we run a personal training business and we want to help clients lose weight. The first thing to maximize is the dream outcome. Let's say the dream outcome is the amount of weight that the customer is going to lose. So we can say, we'll help you lose 30 pounds. The second thing that we want to improve is the perceived likelihood of achievement. This is by maybe showing testimonials of all of the past clients we've worked with, as well as maybe stating our success rate. Now, to minimize time, we can tell our client that we'll help them achieve their results in as short time as possible, maybe a month. And to minimize the effort and sacrifice component, we could make it really clear to the client that we're gonna take care of the diet plan, we're gonna take care of the workout plan, we're gonna take everything off of their plate, so all they have to do is listen to us. Now, I don't know about you, but a comprehensive, easy to follow, simple 30-day plan to help you lose 30 pounds seems like a pretty attractive offer. So if you want to create a valuable product, really look at this equation and try and tinker with its different components to see what works best for you. Takeaway number 6 is a pretty quick one, but it's really important to know if you haven't yet started a business. You need to sell to rich people. Alex argues that catering to rich people pays much better than trying to build a product that the masses can enjoy, but which won't allow you to charge as much for that product. Selling to the rich oftentimes allows you to charge higher prices. And this is because rich people pay for time above all else. So if you can deliver a great product to them in only a week, they're gonna pay a lot of money for that. Another reason that you wanna sell to rich people as opposed to the masses is because if you build a product like Netflix or Hulu that caters to hundreds of millions of people, oftentimes you need tons and tons of infrastructure. They put hundreds of millions of dollars into their own Netflix studios to try and make different TV shows, different movies, different comedy specials. Just to quickly summarize this point, solve rich people problems and charge rich people prices. I know I've probably been talking your head off by this point, but I wanted to end this video with a piece of advice from Alex that I think applies to absolutely everybody. You need to hear this, your friends need to hear this, your family needs to hear this. You need to stop caring what others think. Alex mentions that in 3 generations, everybody you know and everybody whose opinions stopped you from doing what you wanted to do will be dead. Oftentimes we're afraid of maybe quitting our job to start this new business or going down the less traveled path because we know that our friends and maybe even our own family members would judge us. But you need to let all of that go. In fact, you need to stop caring what others think if you want to be great, because being polarizing or hated or even envied by others is almost always a prerequisite to greatness. Now, Alex brings up the story of how he used to work a corporate job as a consultant, and it was exactly what his dad wanted him to do. At this point in his life, he was the saddest that he'd ever been, but he was doing exactly what his dad wanted. That's when he realized that maybe his dad's approval and other people's judgment wasn't everything. So he quit his job, traveled across the country, and started his life as an entrepreneur. So don't let the opinions of other people prevent you from following the path that you know you need to follow. In 3 generations, I know it might sound morbid, but all these people will be dead and their opinions will not have mattered. So these are the 7 most valuable, most impactful insights that I discovered while watching 12 straight hours of Alex Hormozi. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You found at least something useful. But if you enjoy this style of content, let me know in the comments and I will see you next week.